Performance testing is about measuring the performance of a web application. In this case, we are going to use our web system again as an example. We are interested in figuring out how many concurrent sessions we can support by the web email system. The tool we're going to use here is an open source performance testing tool called jmeter. It's already available on your Linux system. Although you might see a bunch of warning here, it doesn't matter. So eventually the jmeter window will pop up. The idea of the jmeter performance testing is you could define a test plan. In a test plan, you could add a group of threads so that all these threads could run in parallel so that you can test whether your application is performing well or not, given so many concurrent requests. So the first step is we are going to add a thread group to the test plan. So a thread group is basically a list of a collection of concurrent threads. So there are several parameters you can play here. For example, you can specify how many threads you want. We can specify that, okay, we want 200 concurrent threads. And by default, the system is going to shoot out only one round of requests. But you can see that for each thread, I would like it to repeatedly submit a request for 20 times. So after the thread group is specified, we could add an HTTP request. So in this case, the HTTP request is located in the sampler collection. We could specify the server name or the IP, that is the local host. The port number is 80, so it's the default port. We don't have to specify here. So given the URL of the webmail login page, we have to specify the path. It should be started with webmail, and the page we are visiting is login.php. So we could attach several observers to the HTTP request. For example, if you go to the listener, you could add a summary report. For the HTTP request, you could at the same time add a view results in tree. This allows you to actually inspect all the communication, the request header and the response body, and so on. And also you could add visualizers like graph results, like aggregate graph. And then select one of the observers. You can collect the menu item called run, and we could start. The system will ask you to save your test plan first, and let's click yes. Then you can see that the system is running. You can see the number of requests sent out. You can see the average waiting time for each request, which is 216 milliseconds, about 0.2 seconds. Currently, we haven't reached the capacity of the server yet because the error rate is still 0. The throughput means how many HTTP responses can be generated by the server. That's around 500. And the network communication speed, you can see that it's about 14 kilobits per second. So from a stress testing like this, we can actually see that a regular server deployed on a regular server machine can support up to 500 concurrent sessions. That almost reaches the capacity of the Apache server, even though we are accessing a very simple page from the local host itself. Using the other tools, actually, you can also see a lot of other information, and you can even inspect the contents of each of the HTTP requests and the response data for each individual test case. Actually, the jmeter system is a very sophisticated tool. You can design a simple stress testing case like this. You can also introduce very sophisticated control logic in your test case design. And also, it is possible to start a test case by launching the test remotely with multiple computers at the same time.